Morning. Wow, it's nice to be up here for the first time with y'all. It looks, thanks. It was good to have me here, and so thank you for that. Looks very empty over there, but that's okay. It's excellent. Yeah, there's stuff going on over there. All right, well, let's get started. Whenever we gather in this sacred space, it is made more sacred by the presence and attention of each and every one of us. Whether we are here in the sanctuary or attending by live stream from places far and near or viewing sometime in the future, we are here together. I now invite those here in the sanctuary to take a moment to turn to the camera near the welcoming congregation banner and offer our greetings to our live streaming friends through a friendly wave. Hello. And for those here in the sanctuary, let us take a moment to turn and greet one another.
Good morning. Hope you all are well on this beautiful September morning. May we all rejoice in the beauty of this morning and welcome this new season of congregational life. We gather together in our individual and collective journeys towards spiritual growth, social transformation, and environmental responsibility, and living out these values through worship, reflection, connection, and service. You are part of a community that welcomes all individuals, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, income, ability, or spiritual beliefs. Whether in person or via live stream, we share this precious time and space. Today is a special service, the annual Water Communion, when we bring a little water from our seasons apart and pour it into a common bowl. This ritual celebrates what each individual contributes and the power of the gathered whole. If you forgot to bring water this morning, no worries, we have plenty. We have pitchers of water that can be symbolic of the places that you have been. If you hear, some of you may have been given streamers when you came in. Was anybody given some blue streamers? If you would like some blue streamers, please raise your hands and the ushers will bring you some blue streamers. If you hear water and or a related word, river, ocean, etc., we would like you to wave your blue streamers during this service. After worship, all are invited to a community potluck held in Metcalf Hall downstairs. If you haven't been to Metcalf Hall before, ask an usher for assistance or just follow the crowd. Now let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship.
Thank you, choir, for that beautiful invocation. And I would now like to invite Jeremiah Fowler forward to light our chalice. We gather as many drops, each winding our own path down life's surfaces and ruts. Here we pool together as a single body, flowing together for a time. Together we are a stream, at times even a river. For with our shared force, we can travel towards oceans of meaning and seas of connection. Now let us rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 118 in the gray hymnal, This Little Light of Mine.
All right, I'd like to invite everyone who is young or young at heart to come forward for a story. Jeremiah is all set. Come on up. Good morning, good morning. Welcome, everybody. So good to see you. We have a couple newcomers and a couple familiar faces, so welcome, everyone. So today is our water communion service, yeah. It is the first Sunday of the church year, and while a lot may seem familiar, there are some changes as well. For example, this guy over here, that's not Reverend Heather, is it? No. That is Seth, a dad, a minister, and so much more. Let's give Seth a big wave of welcome. All right. So, as you might remember, Reverend Heather moved to New Hampshire at the end of church in June, and Reverend Seth is here to be our interim minister to help us figure out in the next couple years who we want to be as a congregation and who we want to invite as our permanent minister. So that's a big change, right? That's really big. And it reminds me of a saying about water. You may have heard it, so let me know. The saying goes, you never step into the same river twice. Has anyone heard of that? Yeah? So this saying doesn't mean that, you can't ever step into the Aberjona again once you step into it, right? That's not what that means. No, it means that no matter how often you step in, the river is always moving and changing. So it can't possibly be the same river the next time you step into it. So in some ways, I think our church is like a changing river. If you look at the big picture, it looks pretty much the same. I mean, the pews are still here. The stained glass windows are still here. Even the people. There's a lot of the same people here, right? But let me ask you, are you the same? Did you stay exactly the same as you were when you left here in June? No. Did you maybe learn something new, like how to ride a bike? Or maybe you lost a tooth, or you grew a couple inches? Yeah? Raise your hand if anything changed for you this summer. Wow, lots of changes. So this is a changing river. We're all growing, learning, and doing all the time. So we're flowing just like that river, always changing. Now, sometimes it's hard to accept change. Sometimes you might feel uncomfortable. Maybe you feel a little shy because you don't know Reverend Seth yet, right? Maybe you're worried that some changes will be too hard. That's fair. I think we all feel kind of shy sometimes. We all feel a little unsure when things change. So one thing I do know, Milo, can you help me out? One thing I do know is that the river will still always change. And if we choose not to dip our toe in, we might miss out on something really terrific. Another change that happened this summer is a change in the way that we think about and express our UU values. So, do you remember our principles or the promises from Spirit Play? Who remembers promises from Spirit Play? The rainbow promises? Yeah, Olson, you remember, right? Yeah. So, for each of these promises, there was a rainbow color, right? So that is how we remembered them. Well, there was a big meeting of UUs this summer, and they decided to express our values in a different way. They decided that we were going to choose different words to express our values, to sort of embrace and be more accurate about what it is we believe and who we want to be in the world and what we want to do in the world, right? And that's a big deal. It's a big, big change, right? And everyone's sort of like, oh, this is going to be interesting, right? So we are all going to explore these changes together in the coming weeks. But the one thing that I want to tell you about these changes, the thing that I think is the most important and the most special to me, is that all of the words may be different, but there's one word that they put at the very center of all of those other words. And that word is love, because our UU values are all centered on love. Love is at the center of everything. So we need to remember that in all of these changes, no matter what, we need to walk in the world with love. We need to meet our changes with love. And if we can do that, I think we'll all be just fine. So now I invite you all to go back to your grown-ups, and we are going to have Seth lead us in meditation.
I will note before I begin that there's a lot of water words in the meditation and the service, so if you want to pace yourself with your waving, you're welcome to. Or you can just get some really good exercise. So let us enter now into a time of meditation and reflection with these words from Jamila Batchelor and Molly Hausch-Gordon, titled, The Strength of Water. The strength of water takes on many, many forms. Just as each of you has a unique and necessary strength that you bring to our community and to the work of love. Take a moment now to drop down into the deep wellspring of your own spirit and bathe yourself in the strength that is the groundwater of your person. Are you a roaring fall, wearing rock away with the sheer force of your will? Are you a tiny drop of water in a crevice, breaking it open slowly, steadily? Are you buoyant, like a great salt lake, practiced at holding others aloft? Are you tenacious like the mountain stream, finding your way down and around every obstacle you face? Are you still and calm like the pond at daybreak, offering radiant peace by your shores? Are you in touch with hidden depths pulling from a vast well? Do you soothe like the steam rising from a cup of tea? Do you dissolve away stubborn muck like water left in a pot to soak? Do you soften and smooth the edges like a creeping fog? Do you clear away distraction like a cleansing rain? Do you roll with the ebb and flow like the ocean waves? Settle your mind upon the strength, the power that is yours. Draw that strength into your heart. Draw it up into your soul. As we gather together the many waters of this community, we need each of your power, each of your resilience, each of your love to make us whole. We now move into a time when we are each invited to light a candle in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our hearts. For our young friends, we have battery-operated candles, if you'd like those, on the candle table. And all others everyone else is invited to come forward and light a candle at the table next to the lectern. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and Marcy will bring a candle to your pew. After we kindle the light, we will be together for a time of silence and then sing hymn number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. Let us now kindle the light. Some years ago, I took a trip to a state park in Michigan with my good friend Ellen. This was before either of us had gotten married or had kids, and so it was just the two of us. We had decided before we arrived that we were going to go to the beach first, but since neither of us had been to that particular state park before, we stopped at the information booth and got a map. And as it turned out, there were quite a few different things to do at the park, including hikes and scenic views. And so as we headed back to the car, Ellen, looking at the map, said, "We need a plan." And my response was, okay, do we actually need a plan? Can't we just go to the beach and then when we're done there, decide what we want to do next? No, we must have a plan. Okay, but what if we get tired or hungry or change our mind as the day goes on? I asked her. She said, "That's fine. The plan can change, but we have to have a plan." So make a plan we did. For those of you who are familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality test, my friend Ellen is a J, a planner and organizer. She needs to have a plan. I test as a P, someone who more goes with the flow and is more spontaneous. I did not need a plan. There wasn't a right or a wrong, though, or better or a worse, just two different approaches to navigating the day. Both of them, if we had followed one or the other, could have been equally successful. Often, though, in our lives, it can be challenging to consider that two different approaches are equally valid. Many of us, myself included, sometimes have a tendency to think that my way is the right way, or my way is the only way that makes sense, or maybe my way is the only reasonable, rational, logical way to approach this situation. Instead of considering that our own personal tendencies are just that, one possible way, our preference. I work really hard, especially in my job as a minister, to consider everyone's perspective. And sometimes it's easy to slip into the habit of thinking that my way is the right way. I wonder if that happens sometimes for some of you. And if possibly on some of those occasions where people have other ideas about how to do things that are different from us, that possibly some of us might find that irritating or annoying. Anybody? Yeah. I wonder then, as we go about our lives, if instead of being annoyed or frustrated when people make different choices than we do, if we could give ourselves and them the gift of being curious. Certainly, there are occasions where other people might not be doing things the best way. But sometimes they're just understanding or relating to the world from a little bit of a different place. Since we're celebrating water communion today, let's consider this through the lens of water. If the ocean tides were a person, I could imagine the ebb and flow being a little irritated with one another. Ebb would be fully in her element as the tide was going out, enjoying the slow process of gathering more water together in the ocean, enjoying that closeness, not a huge fan of the land and the people on it. In fact, I would guess that Ebb is probably an introvert. Ebb retreating, she needs her space. Flow, on the other hand, is always reaching out, always wanting to explore new places, enjoying the spaciousness of expansion, fascinated by what's happening on the shore, always wanting to come in. Flo can't wait to get closer, to engage with the humans, the children playing. She's excited to throw herself as close as she possibly can be to all the activity on land. Flo is definitely an extrovert. Now, I would imagine that Ebb doesn't particularly enjoy when Flo is leading the water back into high tide, and that conversely Flo isn't too excited when Ebb is pulling them back from all the interesting things on shore. The thing is, they need each other. If there was no Ebb, there could be no Flo. the water would just sit stagnantly where it was, with no movement, no life, no energy. Movement, life, energy is created in the back and forth between the two. So too in our lives. Life is richer, fuller, more interesting, more meaningful when there is back and forth differences of opinion, different approaches and understandings. Life is richer, fuller, more interesting when we embrace and learn from our differences and travel the road together. I invite you now to respond to these words written by Tess Bomberger by saying all together, I'm going to do a little read-in response. We travel this road together. So that's your part. Let's try it. We travel this road together. From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, to dream of who we might become. We travel this road together. As companions on this journey, we share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration. We travel this road together. We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another. We travel this road together. Today, as we take the next steps, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts. As we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path. We travel this road together. As we celebrate our ingathering and water communion today, may the ebbs and flows of the ocean remind us of the importance of the ebbs and flows of our different approaches to and understandings of members and friends of this gathered community. We bring theological diversity, yes, and we bring diversity in so many other ways as well. We are at our best when instead of our differences rubbing us the wrong way, we can appreciate them for the gifts of wider view of the world that seeing through someone else's eyes can offer us. Let us say all together one more time, we travel this road together. Amen.
This morning, on our Water Communion Day, we share our gifts with the Mystic River Watershed Association, whose mission is to protect and restore the Mystic River, its tributaries, and watershed lands for the benefit of present and future generations, and to celebrate the values, importance, and great beauty of these natural resources. At this offering time, there are a number of ways you can donate. Those in the sanctuary may give cash, checks, or donate electronically. Text to the number in your order of service or visit our website under the Giving page. If you are visiting for the first time, either in person or online, you are our guest. In-person attendees can find a physical visitor card in the pew racks in front of you. Please complete it and put it in the collection plate. Information about how to give online and how to complete the virtual visitor card will soon be shared with live stream attendees through text on your screen. Information, the offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
trouble the water. Trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. Trouble the water. The leader looks like an Israelite. Oh, children, wade in the water. Trouble the water. Children, wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in red. God's gonna trouble the water. Will it look like the band that Moses led? The water. Oh, children, wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble wade in, children. God's gonna children, oh, children. I'm gonna trouble
Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We recreate and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love.
As we come together today to celebrate the beginning of another church year, so too does water come together. Whether it is raindrops gathering to form a pool, groundwater collecting deep beneath the earth that we tap for wells, streams joining to form a river, or rivers flowing into and becoming one with the sea, water seeks water and comes together to make something bigger than the individual drops. So too do we come together to create a community bigger than our individual selves.
Water sustains our lives. Between 50 to 80% of our bodies are made of water. Water also cleanses us, purifying our bodies when we bathe, as it cleanses the earth when rain falls. Water hydrates our bodies and nourishes us through its cool, refreshing drink. Water is essential to our lives and to life on this planet.
In this ritual, we will join our water together. This commingling of water from different places with different meanings symbolizes the many unique qualities, characteristics, and skills we each bring to this religious community. It also represents the many unique beliefs and experiences we bring to share. Just as water from the tap combined with water from the river becomes one, so too do our spirits and our hearts become one when joined together in this loving community. This water, which we will boil and then use throughout the year in our sacred acts of covenant, this water represents our unity, not our uniformity, but our unity.
You are welcome to participate in this water ceremony, even if you did not bring any water with you today. We have symbolic water for you to pour in these pitchers on the table. If you wish to share with the person receiving your water where your water is from, we're happy to receive that information as well. We ask if you brought a water bottle or a large container of water with you that you only pour a little so that there's room for everyone to share. In a moment, we'll ask you to come forward, forming a line in front of whichever station is closest to you, and then return to your seat when you're done. Please raise your hand if you would like someone to come to your seat to collect your water. For those coming forward, you may come forward now. May this water be blessed by the love of our gathered community. May we be blessed by the gifts we have given and received today. As we have gathered and pooled this sacred source, may we remember that this congregation, this gathered body, is also a vessel for healing, a vessel for hope, a vessel for making good change. We close our water communion ceremony with these words from Kaylee Rice. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling towards its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today you brought water, poured it into a common bowl. Though our experiences have differed, these waters mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred space, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community, where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home. All rivers run to the sea.
Please rise in body or in spirit and sing our closing hymn, number 1064 in the Teal Hymnal, Blue Boat Home.
Standing on these mountains, Friends, we gather today to mark the beginning of the church year. We gather to come together, to come back from wherever we have been, whether we have been faithfully showing up on Sunday mornings over the summer or taking a break or vacationing or any other number of things. We come back today to be here, to join as one, even in our uniqueness. We form the bonds of community. We form the bonds of connection. We reform the bonds of love. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.
it's extinguished, but let's do it anyway. Please join me in reciting the words printed in your order of service for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I hope you all will join us in Sims and then head downstairs for our